recording. And so welcome everyone. It's October 6th. I want to thank you all for being here in today's training class. We do have a request from Adam to talk a little bit about 1031 exchanges. So I'll talk a little bit about that and train what the procedures and the systems are. Any specific questions, Adam, regarding the 1031 exchange process?
No.
Okay.
No, I have no particular question. Just go.
Yeah, it's a
Let's
common
go.
thing. So we'll cover that. And if anyone else has anything you want me to cover, I'll be as helpful as I can to teach you the ropes on any topic you want. So 1031 exchange. First, let's just talk about what is a 1031 exchange, what is the purpose, and what's the whole goal and the accomplishment. And I'll tell you, the 1031 exchange is a great tool for people who own investment property. Allows them to what's called defer their taxes to a future date when they sell their own income property. And they can defer that indefinitely because all it really is a way to not pay a large amount of tax on your capital gains when you sell your income property. It's an investor tool. All the real estate gurus and holdings of investment properties and big syndications, they all use 1031 exchange and buy something that's greater or equal to their current property. It's a way for them to acquire better assets. It's a solution for them to convert a middle performing asset into a better performing asset. And this is the method in taxes that is a very great science to take advantage of for those who are very savvy and sophisticated. So what does it do? If you buy, let's say you bought a property, and we all know that there's two different rules to distinguish, and I hear people getting it mixed up. One is a 1031 exchange for income properties. The other great tax saving tool is what's called, if you live there in your primary residence 2 out of the last 5 years, a married couple could exclude up to $500,000 of capital gains. Okay, and they are often mixed up. And so I have to just first start off with an explanation that everything is dependent upon their tax professional, their accountant, how they declare their taxes in the past few years. Because for capital gains, to get the $500,000 exclusion for a married couple, they would have to have declared this as their primary residence 2 out of the last 5 years in their tax returns for 2016, 17, 18, 19, and now going to be 20. So that's one distinguished factor. Now, oftentimes I've heard people trying to do the 1031 exchange, and they want to exchange, let's say they have a house and it's a single family and they want to buy something else, and they want to purchase another house in a better neighborhood maybe. Yes, they could do a 1031 exchange and exchange one house into another house that might even have an ADU or a guest house. So that could be an effective tool to increase into a better performing asset. Okay. And then, for example, what does a 1031 exchange do? You don't have to pay any capital gains when you sell that initial single family house. So let's say I purchased this house back in the 2000s and I bought it for $300,000. Now today that property is worth $800,000. Okay. Normally on an income property, without doing a 1031 exchange, I would have what's called $300,000 as my base assessment. My capital gains assessment is based on $300,000 because of my acquisition price. Plus, then I sell it for $800,000. Okay, minus a certain kind of costs and expenses and improvements capital improvements that I put into the property to step up my improvement. I would have a gain, let's say, of $450,000 that I would be taxed on. Long-term capital gains, you're looking at maybe somewhere around 20% based on your tax level and your threshold, plus state taxes as well. So you have to pay, remember, you got to pay Fed and state taxes on gains. So you're looking somewhere around a large tax, capital gains tax on the $450,000 gains that you're declaring. Okay. Now, instead of paying taxes of 25% of 450,000, I can choose to just exchange, use the proceeds of that sale, because my gains would have been roughly 450,000, and I use that 450 to purchase another property that's greater or equal to 800,000. And as long as I do that and do the 1031 exchange properly within a tax accommodator, exchange accommodator, then I pay zero tax. So what happens is that tax is called deferred. So then I have an $800,000 asset, and let's say I hold it for another 7 years, and then I sell that property, that single house with the guest house. Then that's at that time, 7 years later, that's when I'm going to be paying my capital gains. Okay, that's all in a nutshell. But most people don't even sell the property for long-term wealth and for really just, you know, retirement. You want to maybe, instead of 7 years later selling it, you would actually do another 1031 exchange and exchange that single family with a guest house and convert that into maybe a small commercial plaza or a 3-unit multifamily building. And I can do a 1031 exchange over and over and over again. And that is the science of what many investors do to not pay and defer their taxes. They don't pay because they will eventually pay in time. That's what 1031 exchange is in a nutshell. Does that make sense, Adam and the rest of you guys? Now, there's a lot of clarification that needs to be done. So I'm going to pull up a website, and we're going to learn about 1031 exchanges. And hold on one second. I'm going to have to pull up some materials. Does anyone else have any other topics you want me to cover while I pull up the 1031 exchange? Okay, I'm downloading something real quick. I'm going to share my screen right now so you guys can get all bored with me and we'll be on the same page. All right, hopefully you guys can see the brochure that I have that talks about a 1031 exchange. I attended this seminar last year from Cantor Fitzgerald, and they also teach us of what's called a Delaware statutory trust as an approach of 1031 exchanges. So this one's geared towards a DST, which was a new method of a 1031 exchange that allows you to bundle you up with a syndication of various 1031 exchanges they're doing in a portfolio of numerous properties or developments. But I'll talk to you because it gives you the instructions about what a 1031 exchange is. And as you can see, you could sell a business or investment property, and when you make a profit, you generally have to pay capital gains. Long-term capital gains, like I told you, would be roughly around 20 to 25%. It's all based on your tax basis. And you got to do a like-kind real estate. But like-kind is very diverse in its definition. Like-kind does not necessarily mean a house to a house or a condo to another condo or townhouse. It just means income property to another income property. So yes, you can turn a 2-unit duplex into a 5-unit multifamily commercial property. You could do a single family home that's worth $5 million, and you can exchange that into a retail store or a plaza. So you can do apartments to a house, you can do a condo into a duplex, and vice versa. These are all types of, as long as you use it for rental income property. So what all you really want to do, and these are the reasons why, you want to defer your taxes. You maybe want to diversify your portfolio. For example, maybe you think that you have a lot of commercial properties right now, and you think that commercial retail is going to do bad next year and the ongoing years because a lot of companies are shutting down or going bankrupt. There's a lot of restaurants and a lot of facilities in commercial that are going to have vacancy. And if you fear the commercial sector, maybe you want to convert your strip center that has 4 retail centers, shops. You can convert that into a 10-unit apartment building, and that will be more, to me, what's called a safer investment, because housing is always a need of low supply in California, and you can count on the monthly rent of a tenant. In commercial, it's very different. When you're in a commercial retail, you do get guaranteed rents because you can hold them accountable to their lease. But the problem is when you have a retail building, it's very tough to release everything out. You got to get a guarantor, hopefully, for your commercial retail sector. And ultimately, there's you want to diversify your portfolio and not have all your eggs in one basket. You want to have a good blend of multifamily, of house, single families, and as well as commercial buildings. The cash flow, this will help you with your tax. It's a tax advantage because your cash flow is kept within your own budget, because you're never having to sell your property and pay that 20 or 25% capital gains tax up front. Okay, you defer that, so that increases your cash flow when you exchange a rental property, especially if you're going to a better performing asset. And this is how you preserve your wealth. That's how families keep passing along properties within their trust to their families and kids, is preserving the wealth by keeping great performing assets in their portfolio. But the rules, there's certain rules that need to be met when you want to exercise the 1031 exchange. They call it a 1031 because this is section 1031 of the IRS tax code. No gain or loss shall be recognized on the exchange of property held for productive rental use in a trade or business, as long as it's exchanged solely for property of like kind. And when you want to follow the rules, this is the typical standard 180-day rule. There's a timeline, and it's very strict. You must follow and adhere to each rule in order to be eligible and qualify for the 1031 exchange. To do this, you simply follow these easy steps. One, you're going to be selling your property, okay? And I'm going to tell you that there's some other differences. There's also something called a reverse 1031 exchange, but I'll focus right now on the most common one. Day one, let's say I put my property into escrow and I'm selling my single family house that was used as a rental property. Okay, then based upon the close of escrow date, not when you open escrow, you close of escrow date, you have to identify within 45 days, a deadline of the close of escrow, to identify up to 3 potential replacement properties. We call this the down leg. The up leg is the property you're selling. The down leg is the next purchase you're going to acquire to replace your income property. So that's 45 days, passes by very quickly. You have to identify up to 3, and you must purchase and close on one of them by the deadline of 180 days, 6 months. That's plenty of time, but you need to be able to close on one of those 3 or 2 of those 3, as long as you do it within 6 months of the sold property. In addition to this, it has to be equal or greater value. All the equity that you sold the property that you gained must be used to reinvest. So in that example I told you about $450,000 of equity, I cannot invest $200,000 of that, keep 250 in my pocket for another investment. I have to use all 450,000 as the down payment for my replacement property. And I have to obtain an equal or greater amount of debt on the replacement property. So if I had a loan on that one, I need to take a loan out of equal or greater than my previous mortgage. Okay? So if I don't meet these requirements, there might be additional taxes that I do have to pay if I don't follow these rules. Okay? But I need to tell you a few clarifications on this, because there's strategies when you're a realtor helping your investors and helping your clients. There's certain strategies you want to use. Okay? First of all, you shouldn't be waiting 45 days to identify up to 3 properties. You should probably identify them much earlier. The way you can do this is structuring the first step, which is the selling your property. You would structure that for a longer escrow period and allow the seller the ability to extend the close of escrow date for another 10 days, 30 days, 60 days, whatever you can negotiate out to allow the seller more flexibility in finding a replacement property. So there's a form for that. I can't remember it, but if you just type in 1031 exchange on the car forms, you can get a form that says seller has the right to extend the close of escrow for another 21 days. Okay, you fill in the blank, let the buyers know, and if you want to exercise this right, this gives you and buys you more time, because the next step of identifying the 3 replacement properties is crucial. Okay, and again, up to 3 means you could close on 2 of them, meaning if I have a $2 million rental property and I want to buy 2 single family houses, I can close on and purchase 2 properties for my one $2 million house. That was a rental. Okay. It does not matter what I rented it for. It just matters that it was a rental property according to my tax returns. So when you offer on these replacement properties, you're going to declare to the seller that you're purchasing as a 1031 exchange, and it sounds really good that your sale is already in escrow, and that is very likely for you to get accepted, because this seller or the listing agent should know that you are very serious. Okay, that's one of the good things about 1031 exchange is I know these clients are serious when they identify my listing as one of the replacement properties. Okay, so I'm willing to negotiate as long as we can close within 180 days. We're golden. Okay.
Kelvin.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Jean. Okay, so example, we sell the property and close at September 30th. So we have to have our new purchase for 1031 exchange will be March 31st, have to be closed, right? So between then and 180 days, okay? And between then, so for the maybe how many times we can change the property address?
You could change it unlimited times within 45 days.
Unlimited time
within the first 45 days of your close of escrow on your initial home.
I see.
Or rental property. Unlimited.
Unlimited.
But after 45 days, you cannot change.
Understand. Okay, got it. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, good question. That's a good clarifying question. Now,
yeah.
There's other strategies and there's other types of 1031 exchange too. This is the most common. I'll teach you the other ones as well, because Adam wanted to learn this, and it's very effective for a lot of you guys to know these rules too. So I was saying that you could convert and let's say a $2 million house, you could buy two $1 million houses, and that as long as you use those proceeds, yes, you can also do that and convert one into two, or you can convert two or three properties into one. Okay, as long as the price altogether is equal or greater, the mortgage is equal or greater, and all your equity goes into the next replacement properties. Just want to remind you on those steps. What was very common in 2019, that's why they put up a class, is called a Delaware Statutory Trust. And because so many people are having trouble in following the rules of 45 days, 180 days, another strategy you can use if your window of time is shortening and you're desperate and your client is already sold a property, they have to identify a replacement, and they only have another 10 days left, you can always use a Delaware Statutory Trust as a backup plan. When you do a backup plan of a DST, this is a passive way of allowing and investing along with many other investors, and they can purchase it's like a syndication, a REIT. So what you do is you're joining with other institutional investors. You become a percentage owner of all the portfolio of a DST, and they will take any amount of your principal amount. So they will match whatever you need. And this qualifies as a possible 1031 exchange type of solution. What they do is they manage a portfolio. They have a whole board of directors that kind of controls the investments, and they're typically publicly traded, or they could be privately owned, but they have to follow guidelines, federally controlled guidelines that allow them to manage these portfolios and properly distribute the proceeds and the cash flow from when they rent out the properties to all of the percentage ownerships. So this is one solution that you can use for people who are running out of time. I'm not going to talk about too much DSTs because that's not a product that you realtors want to sell. Because guess what? If you put your client into a DST, you don't earn a commission. I'm going to teach you the strategies for you to earn a commission, and that's for you to help them find a replacement property. So we'll focus on the commission portion. Okay, I'm going to jump to another area. And I need to find it real quick. And I'm going to pull up this is an investment website that I follow. So I'll follow this one. The steps are simple. Okay. I would just say you should begin looking for replacement properties before you sold your property. I think you should be actively searching when you're putting your property on the market. That's when you should be looking for replacement properties immediately. There needs to be a qualified intermediary. Okay, so when you sell when you are in the process of selling your upleg, which is the property that you have already, you are going to need to find a 1031 exchange accommodator. They are the ones who will receive in trust all of your proceeds from the sale. They hold it in there for that 180-day period, and they will deliver those funds to the next escrow when you purchase as your closing funds. Use a reputable, long-term, long-standing exchange company. The reason why I'm telling you this is they are not regulated the same way that we're regulated by the Department of Real Estate. And I have heard of exchange companies disappearing and taking their funds, and the money just goes and disappears into a Bahamas bank account. So you need to make sure you're using a reputable accommodator who can answer all the detailed questions that your client is going to have. I usually don't explain the entire process. I put them in touch with an accommodator to give them a free consultation on the steps they need to take, what to watch out for, and the detailed information about the 3 different ways of doing a 1031 exchange. Okay, so after you close escrow on the relinquished property, you will go ahead and put the money with the accommodator, and you have to identify up to 3 properties. You could close on a different strategy, which is called 95% of the total value of the properties. As long, okay, this 200% rule, I'm gonna show you somewhere else.
Kevin, can you do the page from 1 and to 10? We can take a picture and at least have some idea. Yes, thank you.
This class is recorded on my YouTube, and you can come back to it anytime.
Okay.
So there's a different type of rule that I want you guys to be knowledgeable about, because you don't have to do the 3 property rule. Okay. You have the ability to do the 200% rule of the sales price of your relinquished property. And that means that you, let's say I sold that property for $1 million. As long as I purchase of 200% of that, which is $2 million of real estate, I could also qualify for a 1031 exchange. But that's explained in a different area. I'm gonna tell you the details on that. Okay, so let me show you those rules. Okay, so this website, and I'm gonna give you a cross-reference a few different things. Remember I told you the purchase price and the new loan amount must be the same or higher on the replacement properties, okay? So if this 1 million property in San Jose had a $650,000 loan, they need to buy another 1 million property and take a loan of $650,000 or more, okay? Now that there's 4 types of basic exchanges that you can choose from according to the IRS, okay? The simultaneous exchange is what I was talking to you about. You can do the exchange, meaning sell my property, have some extensions in place, and simultaneously purchase my replacement property around or near the same closing date. And that can be done, okay? I've even had it where agents that I know, they swapped properties. They swapped deeds, okay? So let's say my realtor who had a 4-unit income property rental, and he exchanged it to a 2-unit plaza, and both of these sellers accomplished a swap of deeds, okay? So that can be done. And as long as their values are similar, you take on follow the rules, they swap deeds and exchanged with each other. So finding other people who are doing 1031 exchanges are a good way for you to solve each other's problems, okay? And you're gonna use an accommodator. There's a delayed exchange as well, okay? This is the one I was teaching you, which is the most common. And so that's when you have the 45-day rule and 180-day rule in effect, Okay, so this is the delayed exchange. Most people do this one. And you close in 180 days, you tell them and meet all the rules and everything's fine. There's a third one, which is called the reverse exchange. This is also very possible. It's the opposite of the delayed exchange. So what you do is when you acquire a replacement property first, and then I sell my rental property later, okay? So you buy first, you exchange later, and there's timing rules with this as well. It's tricky, but they do require that you purchase all cash, okay? Many banks won't offer loans for reverse exchanges. So they have to decide which of my investment properties are going to be acquired and which will be parked, okay? So what does that mean? You have to follow the same rules. So basically you have 45 days to identify which of my properties is going to be sold as the relinquished property. And then after 45 days passes, I have 135 days to close on the sale of the identified property and close out my reverse 1031 exchange with the purchase of the replacement property. Okay, it's kind of a backward rule, steps of the other prior one. Okay, now there's another possible solution, and you could do a construction or improvement exchange. Okay, and so this is a nice one for those who like to do fix and flips, or they're comfortable with repairs and renovations. They might want to do this type of exchange where the construction exchange allows taxpayers to make improvements on the replacement property that I'm going to acquire using my exchange equity. Okay, so the taxpayer uses their tax deferred dollars. Remember in the beginning, I told you $450,000 of gains. Then they identify a replacement property, and I have a remainder of 180 days to close, but I have other requirements to satisfy. Okay, so they must spend all the equity that I have, $450,000, on the completed improvements or as down payment by the 180th day, 6 months, the same. Then the taxpayer must receive substantially the same property that they identified by the 45th day. So basically just means rental property to another rental property. And the replacement property must be equal or greater in value when it is deeded back to the taxpayer. And that is kind of that rule for them. But you're going to have to talk to an accommodator to go through specific details, okay? So there's certain exceptions and rules. Like I said, a single family could allow to buy a commercial office building, a single family rental property, or a vacation rental property like Airbnb could be used to buy a restaurant, okay? Now, I'm going to talk to you about the other type of definitions that you should understand, okay? There's something called boot. Boot is basically the tax-free amount that is being exchanged, okay? So you could do what's called a partial 1031 exchange. And so, for example, I sell my $1 million house, but I purchase a new property of $800,000. So because it's not equal or greater, I'm going to do a partial exchange. And so when I have a partial exchange, the difference of that $200,000 becomes labeled as boot, okay? Boot is then that $200,000 difference. I will be taxed capital gains on $200,000. Okay, it's completely okay to do this. It's a solution for those who want to not acquire into something equal or greater. They want something equal or less. Okay, you must purchase the property, and the name of the title must be the same as the original title holder. So if I held the property in my name, Kelvin Chang, I have to buy the property as Kelvin Chang. Okay. If it's, there's one exception, and that's when you're a single member LLC. Then a single member LLC may go ahead, I could sell it a single member like Kelvin Chang LLC, and I can buy the next property as Kelvin Chang if I wanted to. Or I could use the same LLC. That's fine too. Okay. Now, there is another 200% rule that I wanted to talk about, and let me pull that rule up. It's not frequently done, but here's a clarification for that. So they apply 200% of the relinquished property, and as long as, and it has to be an arm's length transaction. I can't just sell it to a family member. Okay, so I can identify any amount of number of properties as long as the replacement properties, the aggregate fair market value, it does not exceed 200% of all the relinquished properties. Okay, so most people do the 3 property rule, and the 200% rule is an alternative way to satisfy the IRS. Okay, so you must do either of these 2 rules. 95% rule is rarely used. I'm not going to even teach this to you. Okay, so just want to clarify that both of these rules are common and can be done. Okay, does that make sense?
Don't get it.
So again, let's say I have $1 million house. It's a rental property, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
200% of $1 million is going to be $2 million.
Uh-huh.
So what I can do is identify 3 properties as replacement properties, or I can do the 200% rule, which means I can identify unlimited number of properties as long as they're replacement properties, meaning I can have 7 properties that I identify.
Mm-hmm.
And the 7 properties that I identify, as long as they do not combined exceed $2 million. Okay, and then I would just go ahead and close on 4 of them, and 4 of them together may meet my 1031 exchange of 1 million to another 1 million or greater.
Okay.
Does that make sense? This allows me to identify more properties. Okay, so I can identify maybe 7 condos from that all condos of all 7 of these, as long as the value is combined less than $2 million, these are all 7 eligible tax deferred properties that I can exchange into as my down leg. So as long as I do my $1 million sale, I identify 7 of these that are up to $2 million, and then I go ahead and purchase 4 of them, and those 4 are equal or greater than 1 million, then these 4 are called my replacement properties.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
That's how you look at it. So then I've completed my 1031 exchange using the 200% rule, and these 4 properties are going to be my replacement properties. Or it could just be one. It could just be one, as long as it's equal or greater. Okay, so the only way that would happen is if you have 7 properties, one of them is $1 million, and the other 6 are combined are $1 million. And I don't get this one, I don't get this one, I get this one, I don't get. But this one, that $1 million, I can get that into escrow. Okay, fine. I'll close this $1 million one. It's equal or greater. And that's one of the 7 that were qualified under the 200% rule. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So those are the 2 primary ways you're going to do it. And you just know that you can do reverse exchanges as well.
Mhm.
Okay. Any questions? Because that's pretty much how you conduct the 1031 exchange. And to me, there's two really good exchange companies that I would refer to you. I would use Phil Atwan, who's very knowledgeable. He's with 1031 Exchange Resources, and he is a local AAR West San Gabriel Valley member affiliate, and this is their company. So you could talk to him, or I would use First Americans. And they also are a reputable provider. And the reason why I'm telling you to use reputable providers is because I don't want your client to have a accommodator that just disappears and moves out of the country. So those are the two websites for doing the 1031 exchange that I would refer you guys to. They have specific documents. You can go into their website and find and learn more about it. They give you free consultations of how to do the 1031 exchange. And ultimately, you just want to just make the realtor. You don't want to answer all the detailed questions because you're not a tax professional. Let them handle the detailed questions. And there's a lot of videos if you want to Google or learn about it, how to accomplish this. And it's a great tool as long as you're doing like-kind replacement properties. Okay. Any other questions I can help you with?
Oh, and yeah, earlier I saw have a topic say 1031 exchange deadline COVID-19. What is that for?
That one was okay. You're talking about on this page? No, it was a website, right?
Yeah, on the website. It's on the website.
I think it was explaining how 1031 exchange. Let me go to my history.
Okay.
Okay, the IRS issued a notice on April 9th, 2020, and it provided additional relief for taxpayers. And it's for those people who were affected by COVID when they're trying to perform a 1031 exchange. It says there's unclear language, but they said that they extended the 45-day identification period and the 180-day period for exchangers as long as their deadlines were on or after April 1st, 2020. The new deadlines that they're giving you during this COVID period is to identify would be 120 days after the original due date or July 15th, 2020. So this is past. That window, I think, was specific for only those people who were in the middle of exchanging from April to July 15th.
I see.
But right now, I don't think that's extended. So I believe you're just going to go ahead and follow the same 45 180-day rule.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Good question. You have a very sharp eye.
I need to focus and learn a lot from you.
I hope to be helpful to you guys. So let me just, to close out the meeting, let me tell you where everything goes wrong on a 1031 exchange. One, it's the realtor is not on top of the deadlines, or the seller is not taking the deadline seriously. Okay. If you have something going into a 1031 exchange or putting it into escrow, it is very important for you to be able to extend your close of escrow, work with a buyer, select the buyer that's willing to give you extensions, potential extensions that the seller can exercise. Ask for 3 weeks or 2 months. whatever you need, depending upon your seller's motivation. The second thing that goes wrong is the seller wants a high price for their exchange, and then they want to be very cheap on writing offers, and they write low ball offers on the replacement properties, and you're never going to get acceptance. Okay, so if you're going to get a good price like you're getting today, you should also be writing reasonable offers, or do what I do and tell the investor to write a lot of offers on many different types of properties, see which one is willing to play ball during the 45-day window. Because that 45-day window, like I told Gene, you could write 20 offers and see which 3 are willing to play ball, and then name those 3 as your replacement properties that are willing to negotiate with you. And then out of those 3, let's say 2 of them, you did some due diligence, you canceled the escrow, you could still change that one to another replacement property as long as it's done within 45 days. Okay, that's a strict deadline. Okay, the other mistake that I've seen is people are using a rental property, but they rented it out to their family member. And yeah, it's a rental property. I'm renting it to my cousin or my aunt. They're paying me $3,000 a month, and that's great. But guess what? It turns out I look at the tax return, and they don't even report the income of that rental property. They are cheating the IRS. You're not going to be able to get an IRS tax deferred exchange because the IRS doesn't even know that you're having income from this. So it could cause your client to have an audit, or it could cause your client to not qualify, and everything that you're trying to do basically is going to go, to their goals are not going to get met. So there obviously has to be a declared income property. Okay. And the other areas that I see clients go wrong is they're oftentimes not very active, and they think that the 45 days is plenty of time. Oh yeah, I'm a cash buyer, I don't need any, I'm this and that. They think they're the king. And in 45 days, they are struggling, especially in today's market where there's multiple offers on properties. So they're struggling to find a replacement property. And because they're not writing good offers, they're writing very, investor type offers, which are lower than the market. And again, they fail to meet that 45-day deadline. So what you could do to really educate the client is let them know how tough this market is right now. Tell them, let's write a few offers on a few properties. I want to show to you what kind of activity homes are getting. Okay. And so therefore so maybe if they're having trouble with homes, because that's the hot ticket right now, maybe they should go into retail, office, industrial, warehouse, and exchange into something that is considered to be more open. There's a lot more vacancies. There's a lot more other income properties out there that will have less competition. Okay, so don't necessarily have to go into multifamily or housing. I want you guys to earn a commission on both sides, the sale and the purchase. So the way you do that is again, you could talk to other realtors, find out who else is doing an exchange, find out what types of people that you can even exchange within my own 2 different clients. So I had that's a really savvy way to get them to do this and help each other out and swap the deeds. So you can search for different resources, or you can call me or text me if you have specific questions or details. And in regards to most of the times these investors already, if they're into a 1031 exchange, most of them already know the specific rules, but just let them understand that the 200% rule is also an option. It makes you sound smarter as a professional when you know that there's different ways to accomplish their goals. Okay, and you just give them the basics, but let them research the details. okay? And refer them to their tax professional or their accountant. Other than that, I just say it is okay to do the reverse exchange. In this type of market, I would say, because if, let's say they have a house or a condo, we know we can sell those really quickly. So in this marketplace, a reverse exchange is probably, maybe you have a property that's sitting on the market for a very long time, and this seller is desperate and motivated, and maybe it's a retail building or something like that, or a 4-unit apartment building, and they're having trouble selling the property because the rents are too low. Well, guess what? Or maybe the tenants aren't giving them access. You could write the offer, tell them that you're going to do a 1031 exchange, do a 90-day escrow, or have a longer escrow, so that it gives you enough time to get your property sold. And these motivated sellers might be willing to play ball with you and listen to your, and to accept your offer with a longer timeline. Okay. That's a great way to just plan ahead so that you're not desperate and rushing around. And that way you can secure both your escrows and secure both of your properties clear in advance. Okay. This is a good market right now for 1031 exchange. Okay. Any questions before I end today? Any requests for next week's training topic? I want to encourage you guys to join tomorrow. We'll do our sales meeting again at 10 a.m. on Zoom. And other than that, I think I'm going to be focusing a little bit about the upcoming election and some of the ballot measures that are going to impact California. I'm not going to talk about every ballot measure. I'm only going to talk about significant ones and ones that will be kind of more geared towards or impact real estate. So hope you can join me for tomorrow's sales meeting and learn a little bit about that. And obviously, I'm going to encourage you to register to vote for November's upcoming presidential election. Big things are going to happen, and a lot of the future economy is dependent who's going to be our next president and the policy that they put in place. So it's important that we, exercise our right to vote. And thank you all for being here and being attentive. Again, if you have questions for next week's topic, just let me know. I'd love to make this training for you. Okay?
All right,
Thank you
thank you,
very much,
Kevin.
All right.
Thank you.
And I'm going to self-plug my listing. I just put in a new listing right now in Los Angeles. If you have someone who's into fix and flip, or someone looking for an Airbnb property, I want to encourage you to check out this listing over here. It's a great Miracle Mile property that is only a few blocks from La Brea Tar Pits, Miracle Mile Museums, LACMA, Urban Lights. These are all excellent locations and destinations for Airbnbs and travelers who are tourists. And this property, you can see here, you guys can see the screen, I think, right?
Yes.
The pool in the back, a 2-car garage, a large extension of the main house, Spanish style home. And this is the front electronic gate, completely fenced off and private. You do have a pool in the back. You have a nice Spanish style architecture and design, arched windows and door frames in the living room. The fireplace is here, and it has wood laminate floors. This is your dining room. This is leading to the kitchen area. It does need some remodeling in the bathrooms and the kitchen. This is the door. This is co-listed with me and Grace Ho together, and we'd love to work with you guys. One of the bedrooms, pretty spacious. This is a closet or a powder room. This is the bathroom. You can see it needs some deferred maintenance and repairs, and you could really make this special because the Miracle Mile area is high demand. The street commands roughly maybe they're selling for 1.5+ million. So there's definitely upside for any investor This is the kitchen. It's, you know, needs some modernizing, and a laundry room inside, a small 3/4 bathroom. Check it out. See if you have any fix and flippers for this nice remodeled needing remodel property. All right. Just giving you a little preview. It's about 1860 square feet. And it should fly, okay? It should go really quickly. Great location, just a few blocks. You could see right here the property, just a few blocks away from, I'll tell you all the highlights. The Peterson Auto Museum is right here, a few blocks away. You have the La Brea Tar Pits, LACMA, the Wilshire Courtyard, and all these great retail and shopping nearby. All right, guys, you guys enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you guys next time, tomorrow or next week for the next class. Everyone, thank you.
Thank you very much.